Hey y'all, so I am clearly not at my desk today, nor am I in my kitchen or even my backyard. Today I'm coming to you from the Harper Historic District in West Hollywood, where we're about to take a tour of the historic apartment buildings that are on this street and on the just adjacent over there, Fountain Avenue. Place as a character is one of my favorite things to explore in my writing and filmmaking. And obviously, because I live here and I love it, I set so much of my work in Los Angeles. When I'm in the midst of writing or at the beginning of an idea, figuring out what neighborhood a character lives in is so important to me. So I'm doing some crucial research right now, plus I'm a huge architecture nerd, so I love looking at these historic buildings, which were actually some of the first multi-family homes, so apartment buildings, built in West Hollywood in the 1920s. Let's go on a walk. Let's get inspired and try to imagine what kinds of characters might live in these buildings and think of some amazing stories to tell. All right, let's go. So our first stop is the building I was standing in front of in the introduction. It's Villa Primavera. And I actually almost didn't even see it as I was walking, and oh, there you go. And this right here was my first glance of the property. I love how even with all the gates in this district, the wrought iron is pretty and considered. It feels intentional, not exclusionary. And the whole building itself looks like an oasis. The fountain is this beautiful, burbling monument in the middle, and I love the flat roofline and low profile of this building. It gives it this leisurely, wealthy feel, which is more like a resort than an apartment complex. Next, we're turning south and heading slightly east on Fountain Avenue to Patio Del Moro. I love the billowing canvas awnings just up above in contrast especially to this decorative wood garage. The blue on the garage is eye-catching, but I almost appreciate the wonky waviness of the brickwork more. It makes it look like it's from a bygone era when bricks were hand-molded and laid. And I don't know why, but I immediately got a Count of Monte Cristo vibe when I saw the crest above the door. I cannot explain it, but that's where I was, especially because the rest of this building is just very Moroccan. So I took a 2-week research trip to Morocco in law school, and everything about this building, the color, the attention to detail, the darkness of the wood, the commitment to an alcove, just brought me right back there. But there's also something about this entryway that feels like a portal. And maybe it's just because the intensity of Fountain Avenue is literally the width of the sidewalk behind me, and yet inside it's just calm and peaceful and lush. Four Gables is the Storybook house at the corner, and that's our next stop. I love how Los Angeles residential architecture is so diverse. So far we've been at 3 buildings and seen 3 different styles. Villa Primavera is Spanish Revival, Patio Del Moro is Moorish, and now Four Gables is Storybook. This is the benefit of living in a city that was settled after the Industrial Revolution and that brought people from across the country and the world to live here, and all of them had different ideas of what their homes should look like. Add to that relatively blank canvases of land to develop and no zoning design restrictions, and we have a beautiful patchwork melting pot of architecture. But back to Four Gables. Though it doesn't have as much whimsy as the Storybook single-family homes, Four Gables does feel like a castle. It's imposing and staid. But if you check out the door, yeah, it's not really untouched by time. Now we're back on Harper. Romanesque Villas is a special one. It's Spanish Revival with Romanesque influences. Now, I'm not a fan of Romanesque architecture in general. It's associated with the 11th century and comes right before the bold flying buttresses and opulence of the Gothic period. And it usually involves squat buildings with a lot of symmetry and very little decoration. But Romanesque-influenced Spanish Revival is a different story. The symmetry and simple two-tone stucco add a bit of flair to the giant box. And the semicircle porches feel of the era while also seeming light and alien, like they might detach and fly away. I love the detail of the RV for Romanesque villas on the doorframe. And this building was most interesting to me when I was taking still photos, but in motion it doesn't seem to have the same character. I do adore how the light and shadow fall on it and almost flatten it like camouflage, but my still photos, which you can see on my Substack, really bring it to life. By contrast, El Pasadero is a building that inspired me greatly in motion, so I'm going to pause here for a bit longer. The still photos that I took are nice, but there's something about moving up its winding staircases and discovering its details with the turn of the head or the pan of the camera that's really special and inspiring. And there's a je ne sais quoi that I can't touch with the still photos. It needs this motion. First, the staircases. The tiles are gorgeous. I love the color and the multitude of patterns that change as you go up each step. The staircases to me also bring to mind an M.C. Escher painting. They're moving every which way with grace, but they're so numerous that it feels like they can't all be going somewhere, right? Okay, so when I said discovering detail, this right here was a moment of discovery. I saw this beautiful orange glass window and went to film it to ensure you'd get to see the orange tint too. And then bam! Here's this flower-shaped wrought iron window that looks into another courtyard with another staircase. There's no fountain, at least in plain sight for the public at El Pasadero, and fountains are a hallmark of this district specifically. But, like I said, there's another staircase because, of course, this is an M.C. Escher house. And for some reason, looking at this staircase feels like I'm looking into a mirror. Even though where I'm standing, from where I'm filming, behind me looks nothing like the far end of the courtyard. There's something kind of eerie about it, and I love it. And then there's these little lizard handles on the door that are so cute. I love how their tongues make up the handle. It's just these fun little details and touches, along with the eerie, maze-like construction of the stairs that has really drawn me to El Pasadero. This is Harper House. It has the same semicircle porches as Romanesque villas and a similar stately manner, but the more monochrome exterior, which is contrasted only by the red tile roof, makes the Spanish Revival building feel almost light and breezy to me. I love the circular cap on the balustrade here and the echoing spiral as you go up the stairs. But it's this courtyard. It's lovely and inviting, and with the buildings surrounding it, brings to mind a secluded village untouched by time. Like Brigadoon, but instead of Scotland, it's 1920s California. My favorite feature is the ship-shaped weather vane on the tall bell tower-esque tower at the back. It's a fun extra touch of whimsy here, and I love it because it echoes my feeling of this building as light and floating. So I love Villa Sevilla. The tile here is similarly intricate and diverse as at El Pasadero, but what it has that none of the other buildings have are multiple no trespassing signs and warnings that you're on camera. So I would have loved to have filmed more of the beautiful tile rug up at the landing and investigated the fountain, which is the most opulent of all of them I've seen on this walk, though sorry you don't get a good shot of it. But I want to be respectful of the people that actually live in these buildings and also, you know, not get yelled at. The sweeping staircase at Casa Real is a moment I'll come back to over and over again. The red paint, the street lights, the archway with the single light reflecting on the ceiling in a star shape. It's romantic and desperate and begs for someone to be running down the stairs to catch the love of their life on the sidewalk below. I mean, the now leasing signs kind of cheapen it, but nobody's perfect, I guess. The details of this place are cool too. The tile parallel to the roofline and in the garage, the ornate gold cornice, and then through the gold painted gate, the Vintage Automobile Club of Southern California sign. It gives a ring of authenticity and kitsch to this building in equal measure.
All right, so that's the end of this tour of the Harper Historic District. Thank you so much for coming along with me. I feel really inspired and curious right now, which I love feeling because that means that I have learned something new, I've seen something new, and I want to integrate it into my own creative vocabulary. Please let me know in the comments below what your favorite building was, what your favorite part was, and if you'd like a deeper dive into what I'm curious about and what was really inspiring me and what I was thinking about while I was doing this tour, check out my Substack. Link is in the pinned comment below or in this description. Thank you so much again for taking this tour with me, and I'll be back in a few weeks with something new. Bye.